So we're joined from Nissan North America, right down the road in Canton, Mississippi, by Industrial Engineering Manager Kitt Duren. We thank you so much for joining us today. We're in the manufacturing career cluster. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools, the Rosa Scott, Madison Central High School, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm excited to be here and anything that I could share to help the high school and middle school, all the kids out, definitely I'm excited to do so.
Awesome. Now, before we get into all this you do at Nissan, just give us a brief background. You know, you're from Jackson. You went to Forest Hill High School, Mississippi State. So take us through that process.
Okay, yeah, went to Forest Hill High School, as you said. I graduated in '96. I went to Mississippi State. That's where I majored in mechanical engineering and had a lot of fun, almost too much fun. And so from there, I went to USM, finished up my industrial engineering degree at USM. And then Nissan was my first and only job that I had from a
Wow,
work standpoint. So I've been here to be 19 years in a couple of days.
that's incredible. And now and just to briefly on these college programs, you know, Mississippi State has a unbelievable industrial technology program, as does Southern Miss. But there's been some newer manufacturing technology programs in Mississippi because the need for engineers and technologists and some of these skilled jobs that require a degree are getting bigger. So Ole Miss has their new manufacturing center that has a great partnership with Nissan, as well as Jackson State and Alcorn. All are really pushing these manufacturing technology, industrial technology degrees.
Absolutely. And really, to tell the truth, I say 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have access to all of that technology and that growth. So you really can't go wrong either way. It's about fitting your needs and accessibility, because all those programs have shown that they can produce uh, great stock and ready for the workforce. So don't think you have to go to Mississippi State. Don't think you have to go to Ole Miss. They're great programs. I've been there at USM. uh, the other all programs, even the ones, the feeder programs through the community colleges are great. I
Oh,
did that
we'll
too. I
definitely get to
skipped.
that.
Yeah, I skipped. I do have a AA degree in industrial engineering technology from Holmes.
Oh,
So
okay.
that,
I did not know that. So yeah, believe me, we're going to get to those community college programs here shortly. So
uh,
obviously you've been at Nissan 19 years, which is unbelievable. But you know, I have kids every year, every day tell me, well, I'm just going to go work at Nissan. Like it's not one of those places you can just show up and knock on the door. There is a very strenuous vetting process to get hired there. And I know you're not an HR person, but you've been there long
Mhm.
enough to where you can tell people, you know, this is what it takes to get your foot in the door at this company. So, what are some things that, if somebody, you know, applies for a job at Nissan, they're going to really have, they're going that Nissan is really going to be looking for when it comes to a potential employee?
Well, being a small city here, it depends on really what your plans are. And anything that you do, you have to make a plan, right? So if you want to come in on the as a technician, of course, the main thing in all of them is to be drug free, right? So that's step one. And then from a technician standpoint, a high school diploma get you in, but you would want to really build as much as you can as far as your workforce skills, whether it be if you're a painter, if you're a electrician, a plumber, anything of that nature. I even went to school for teaching. It just shows that you have some aspect of wanting to do and accomplish something. But even so, just a complete high school is one of those things, and just have a strong work ethic, and not jumping from place to place. Because if we see somebody jumping from place to place, they likely won't be satisfied with us, and they don't want to tackle adversity. So, just your resume should show some willingness to overcome adversity.
Yeah. And then also, for people that don't know, if you're looking to get entry level at Nissan, you are going to be on the night shift. It's pretty much guaranteed. And then I'm glad you mentioned about drug free. You're going to have to pass a drug test. People can complain all day long about, well, it's legal, whatever. Well, it is a huge liability to operate that advanced machinery under the influence of drugs. So Nissan's not going to take that chance, or any other manufacturing company. And then something that's been mentioned to me before is that Nissan really does vet social media accounts. So if you're putting up guns and a bunch of crazy stuff, or everything you put, no matter what side you're on, is political, Nissan's going to see that as a big red flag and not really want to bring that atmosphere into their workforce.
Yes, especially with technology and AI technology, it's easier to access those type of things. So you want to be aware of what you do, who you are, not just at school, but who you are, how well rounded you are, because you have a diverse group of people that you work around that you have to get along with. So that's
Absolutely.
important.
Now, obviously, we all know what Nissan produces, and it does. And I know they've announced they've made some changes that's coming up in the next few years, or it may have already been changed. So, but they're literally making uh, several $1,000s worth of a vehicle that has to be made perfectly, or as close to perfect as possible, to meet the customer's need. So this is something that takes great care, takes great training, and takes great skill. So you mentioned Hines Community College, or Holmes Community College, and we looked
Mhm.
at a couple of community college programs before we got on with you too, about uh, mechatronics, about um, uh, electro manufacturing, about some of these machinist technology. So if somebody's like, I don't really want to do the college thing, but I could see myself working with some of these machines and these robots, there are pathways for them to get a year's worth of training and get their foot in the door at a great place like Nissan.
Absolutely. And a lot of times we look at our engineers and we think they know it all. I can tell you, as being one of them, we don't. The people I depend most upon are those people that you talked about with those degrees. People that can work on the robot. I'm an engineer. I understand the mechanics. That's what I know. I can tell you when something is wrong, but you do not want me going in there if something's wrong and they need to get the line back up. We have to depend on those people that have those 1 and 2 year degrees, and they pay well. Uh, and I'm more easily replaced than those people, and I could go home and things will still run. But if I've been in cases where 2 or 3 of those type of that type of workforce was out and things just shut down.
Wow.
So those are very important jobs. I would say even more so in many aspects than just being called an engineer.
Yeah, and also I know Nissan has great partnerships with some of these suppliers that make the parts that get to the line. So uh, they also are really needing skilled workers, because even though Nissan is where the final assembly takes place, they've got to have great parts from those suppliers as well.
Yeah, I mean, if we've been in instances where you might not think you know let's say the rubber piece to your window is important, but out of all the thousands of parts, if that supplier doesn't give us that rubber piece, we can't run. So it's the ability. The amazing thing about building cars is that everybody has to work together. And if somebody has a piece that does not work, the whole car can't run. It doesn't matter how good the engine or the paint is, it doesn't matter. And that's still true in life, in your life, So if certain things don't work out, no matter how good the other things are working out, you have to have the whole working together.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because we just looked at a project they're about to have where they were randomly assigned groups. And I'm always like, we're a small school, so they pretty much know everybody, but you may walk into a job one day where you've got to learn to work with everybody, especially in manufacturing, or especially manufacturing vehicles, because it's such a tedious process. You can't get into petty stuff about you can't work with people, because then the whole process fails.
Yeah, and if you get into your feelings, I don't know what they call it these days, but if you get into your feelings, um, those type of people we just have to push to the side because we have a common goal. You have to realize that we always say we want to begin with the end in mind, right? And when you keep that in perspective, and our goal is to build a quality car. So when you look at it that way, our goal is not to care about your feelings, like what happened at home that day. Those are important because people are part of that process. But at the end of the day, we have to come together to reach that common goal. And we can talk about those other things afterwards, but until that goal is met, that's the main thing in that aspect.
Absolutely. Now, one thing, a great thing, one of the great things about Nissan is it's got one of the best benefit packages I've ever heard of. And it has some of the best things provided right there on the factory campus that a lot of other employers are not going to provide. So, talk about some of those great things that are there right there in the plant at Nissan for the employees to use that they don't have to leave to take care of things.
Yeah, I'm kind of spoiled, as I said. I've been here for 19 years, so I just assume that all those things should happen. But um, you don't have to worry about going out the bank. We have Bank Plus sitting here. You choose to use that. As far as the pharmacy, it's sitting right here, so you don't have to worry about. And it's kind of like Walgreens, same company. So anything you get from that, and it's cheaper, at cost. Even the things you get out of there, like batteries, for example, I got a 24 pack of batteries for $3 or something. AAA, you can't get that anywhere. So those benefits, it's amazing to come to a place to work and be able to have all of those benefits available to you. And as far as the benefit, as far as healthcare, I'm how old am I? 45, getting ready to turn 46 in a couple of days. But things happen. Like I had a heart attack, a massive heart attack last November, and I
Oh, wow.
had to pay for a couple of things, but just having the benefit of knowing that you can go to the doctor is amazing. That's another reason to work hard, to be able to have those benefits no matter where you go. And that leads me to another thing: take care of yourself, because the things that you do now, the things that you eat now, the things that you smoke now, I know I'm not gonna be naive, and all the different things that you want to try affect your body going into your adulthood. So that's something to think about. It's not like, okay, I can do this today and then when I get older it just goes away. No, it sticks with you. So I know some of the experiences that you may have because I am from sub two from the west side. So don't let this engineering degree fool you.
Now, and also Nissan has a fitness center there on
Oh yeah, yeah.
right there on
Fit,
the plant, and have unbelievable festivals for the families where they have all kind of things where all employees are welcome to come out and enjoy it.
yeah, I forgot about the fitness center because I don't use it like I should. So it's sitting over there. But yeah, all kind of things. Nissan really cares about its employees. We do want to be a quality car, but they do take uh, great pride in taking care of the well-being of their employees, and also making sure that we carve out time to refresh ourselves. Work hard, but we want to make sure that we refresh ourselves.
Now, you mentioned about building the quality car, and we've talked about how the models really haven't changed that much, and the process hasn't changed that much. But some of the technology is getting more and more advanced every day. I went on a plant tour 8 years ago, back
Wow.
obviously before COVID, and they had a lot of robots doing things. Obviously, the way our parents grew up and our grandparents grew up, manufacturing has changed immensely. So now we may be building the same product, but the skills needed and the technology used is completely different. So if these kids in ninth, 10th, 11th grade, and they're interested in these types of things, what are some of the skills they can learn now to be able to find great jobs in this field?
You mentioned some of the on the mechanical side, dealing with the robots, how to the maintenance side, of how to fix them, how to make sure they never go down. A lot of times we talk about fixing them, but maintenance really means let's fix it, but let's be proactive. One other thing is programming, because everything has to be programmed these days, from the robots to this is where it should put this well specifically. It may be millimeters off, but you have to program it correctly.
Mm.
One of the bigger things are AG. We used to have AGVs, automatically guided vehicles, and they ran on tape. Well, now we have AMRs, which basically you have a PlayStation robot and kind of program everything through the laptop, and it can go wherever you want it to go instead of having to shut down for the weekend to retape something and reroute it. Now you just say, okay, Instead of going here, I want you to go there. So those type of skill sets are in demand. And again, people like engineers, we look at the whole picture. We look at it from up top. This is what we need. We need AMRs, for example. But when they get in, we don't do a lot of the programming and make it work. So those people are important and in much demand.
Absolutely. And we have our engineering and robotics program in Madison County Schools that are at our career and technical center that these kids could start in 10th or 11th grade. So if that's something they're interested in, that's something that they could start learning in high school and get certifications in high school and possibly move on to a great career without having to go to a lot of post high school work.
Yeah, and let me say this: don't think uh, just because you don't want to be an engineer or a maintenance person or somebody that does this type of work that you don't need to have that skill. Just having it under your belt means a lot. Even if you're going into education, even if you're going into some other form of work, you want to be a lawyer, but still, you may work on a case where you need to understand that patent and law, you still need to know those things. So don't, and vice versa. Don't think just because you're going into engineering, hey, I want the math, and then forget the English, because if you can't relate it, then that's just as bad, to be honest, because that's your first impression. So all of the things that you're learning in high school make you more well-rounded, and be sure to take advantage of those.
Now, the last thing I want to talk about before I get to the students' questions, and I know I can speak for every other teacher that'll see this later, is that the biggest challenge that a lot of us are facing is the lack of communication skills of this entire generation. Because this generation, this bunch I have here with me is extremely intelligent, extremely respectful, and all that is, something that you really don't get everywhere, and we're proud of that. But at the end of the day, you've got to be able to talk, you've got to be able to communicate, because people are like, well, I don't need to be able to talk, I'm just going to work on cars. Well, if something breaks down on the line, you've got to be able to communicate with somebody what needs to be fixed. If you've got to be able to communicate with employees, look, or employers, look, this is what I have going on. Or even if, I know you guys have a great marketing team, they've got to be able to talk on how to sell things. So talk about why those communication skills are just so vital, because it just seems like this generation is seeming to forget about that.
Communication, both written and verbal, very important, because your written piece shows us immediately on your resume, because you have to give us one. And if I see a bad resume, then it's a good chance you probably won't even get the interview, and you could have been the best candidate. So you want to definitely work on your written communication and your verbal communication, definitely how you carry yourself, because you may we have to look at your potential, not only where you're coming in. So you may come in as a technician or a technologist, but what's the potential? Can I put you in front of a vice president and you're able to speak? So, and nothing wrong with having different dialects. I have myself, but you have to know your audience. When I go to my neighborhood and talk to my homeboys, it's a different dialect than when I go talk to my senior vice president. So it's okay to be well rounded.
Progress. All right, so we had some minor technical difficulties, but I do have some questions from the students, and these are really good. So I'm glad they're thinking about this stuff. This first one is Rakia Jackson. She's in 10th grade, one of our cheerleaders here at Velma Jackson. And she asked, was it hard getting to the position that you are in now?
Was it hard getting what you broke up one more time, getting to the position
I'm
I'm in
sorry.
now?
Yeah, correct. That's what she asked.
Okay. All right. It all happened. Yes, now that I look back up on it, but my mentality was always to just accept the job that was in front of me. And I didn't know how difficult those situations.
So again, sorry for the technical
Yeah,
difficulties, but we asked about the position that you're in. Was it hard getting to?
yeah, like I said, it was difficult now that I reflect back on it, but the key for me is always look at the situation. Once I accept the position or challenge, I tackle it head on. Because if I concentrate so much on how difficult it is, it will become difficult to manage. So you're able to persevere. So that's one of the caveats to my successes. Once I take a challenge, I'm crazy enough to think that I can do anything. So it's a good trait to have, but sometimes people think I'm crazy around here because I think anything can happen.
Absolutely. I like this one. This is Chloe Luckett. She's in ninth grade, another one of our cheerleaders here. And she asked, what are some of the safety issues that Nissan experiences?
Well, one of the things we have to wear are glasses. If you don't, things can fall into your eye. And with the robots, sparks come off. So you want to make sure you wear sleeves, and just making sure you stay out of places that say don't go, and because it can be dangerous. We have not at Nissan per se, but other places, we have incidents that can lead all the way up to fatality. So, you don't want to get run over by forklift, one of the main things. But so making sure that you're aware of your surroundings when you're around.
Absolutely. I like
Good
this one. This is
question.
Shakaya. Yeah, this is Shakaya White. She's in 10th grade, another one of our volleyball players here. And then she asked, what made you stay at Nissan for so long?
Uh, Probably one of those instances where I accepted. I always had a challenge, so I never had a gap in between. People depended on me for certain things, and I have some assets, I guess you would say, and I never had a gap to even think about going anywhere. And I'm kind of old school from that standpoint. If you shown your dedication and to me, I'm pretty much gonna reciprocate that. I've had other opportunities, but it's hard to beat Nissan, to be honest. People will call me and they'll say, "Well, will you come over here?" And first question, "How much you paying?" I'm like, "Okay, that may not get it, so we don't even really talk." But I had no desire to leave. It's just
That's
a
awesome.
great place to work, so that's what's kept me here.
That's awesome. This is Cameron Sutton. He's in 10th grade, and he asked, would it be difficult to work at Nissan if you'd rather work alone than with other people?
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult to work anywhere unless you own your own business. Uh, and even then, because you have to communicate with people, because you have to have some income. In order to get income, things to make a profit. The profit comes from people. That's why the communication skills. Now, there are some places where that is more suited for people that work by themselves. And normally, when you're programming or some things of that nature, that'll probably be easier to do because uh, you'll be programming things by yourself, but still they have to marry up because the project's big enough. It has to fit in with the other people that's programming. So I would say, yeah, it'd be difficult to work at Nissan anywhere.
I got time for one more. This is Naomi Smith. She's one of our basketball players here. And she asked, what motivates you to keep pushing and to always get the promotions that you've gotten within the company?
My family. I have 5 kids.
Wow.
One just went to Mississippi State and one came out of diaper. So uh,
Wow.
that's probably part of the reason I had a heart attack too. Who knows? but so that motivates me. But really, not failing and to do what I said I was going to do, that motivates. Uh, that's mainly what motivates me, and knowing from where I came from and not disappointing the people around me. So it's a lot of weight that goes on that because when I go back to my neighborhood, they're just as proud of me as my parents. So if I said I quit, I did something else, they would be disappointed also because that's something we always pushed each other and we wanted everybody to succeed. Not just in engineering, we have from my neighborhood, we have plumbers, electricians, uh, sheetrock. I mean, those guys. When I call them, it's definitely not free. Sometimes I wonder if I went in the right business. So, uh, yeah, that's what motivates me. Family, and my village. Yep.
That's awesome.
And my daughter,
No,
my daughter also plays basketball too. So I don't think we play Vilma Jackson. She plays for Murrah.
okay. Yeah, I had one of their games last year. Now, but we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some time for us. But before we go, why should these kids really consider working at a great place like Nissan with all the technology and all the changes coming?
Because you should consider it because it is the future, and that means it's your future. And so what you do when you get up in age will be much easier if you put the work in now. So you should consider it because it allows your life to be easier. You can have more things to make decisions with. Because it's likely not just going to be you. So you don't have kids now, family, but in the future you will, and this will make those life much easier and decisions much easier as you go on. So put in the work now. Uh, and so you can be able to do some things and not just work, so you'll be able to play. Yep.
Awesome. Well, again, we thank you so much for joining us. Sorry about the technical difficulties and my voice, but we really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure for you to have us. Kitt Duren, all the way down, right down the road at Nissan North America in Canton. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Anytime, I appreciate you all and wish you much success in the future.
I appreciate it. Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Thank you.